I am joined by Bumblefoot. Yeah!
Yes.
That is the best intro I've ever done with anyone. Your reaction there was perfect. Well done.
Choking on my own saliva. Yes.
Yes. Congratulations. Welcome to the Heavy Hook Show. It's been about 18 months in the making. How the bloody hell are you?
Good. How's your 18 months been?
It's been great. So I wanted to break the ice with you by playing a game called This or That, where you just have to choose one of the two things you prefer, and you don't need to give a reason why. There's only two questions, but I thought it would be fun. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
Psychotic Symphony or 2020? Which of the two albums do you prefer?
Psychotic Symphony.
Okay. And the next question is Little Brother Watching or The Adventures of Bumblefoot?
Little Brother is Watching.
Okay, cool. I thought you were going to say that.
But you don't want reasons.
No, that's it. That's the fun. That's the fun part. Well, you can.
Because everyone will be like, "Oh, he doesn't like that other album." No, it's not that. I mean, it could be so many things. It could be the gear I was using. It could be how much my neck hurt. It could be, I mean, so many things. You know what? Let's just leave people to wonder why.
Yeah, I like that. It's mystery.
It could be business. It could be so many things.
It could.
It could be lunch. I mean, anything.
It could be lunch.
Brunch. Anything.
Well, actually, we need to talk about the fact that Art of Anarchy have got a brand new album dropping in February next year. You've already released one track from the album. It's grungy. It's really well mixed. It's cool. It's got a lot of hooks in it. It kind of makes you want more. Is the sound of that track the sound of the rest of the album? What can we expect from that?
Actually, most of the album sounds kind of more like the Carpenters.
You're such a dick.
So, no, that's pretty much the gist of it. It's dark. To me, it's always, I hear a lot of old school metal inspiration because the guys that started the band, that's in their blood, like Metallica and Megadeth and all that. So you hear it and it's their baby. Mm-hmm. I mean, I do write and I contribute, and Jeff and, we all do that. But the foundation of it all is really John and Vince Voda, the guys that started the band. Mm-hmm. What a fucking history this band has.
Yes.
I mean, it should really be a movie. It would make the guys in Anvil cry if they watched our movie. So it started off about 25 years ago. I had a studio in the boroughs of New York City, and these two twin brothers, one plays guitar, the other plays drums, and they would come in and I would record their band and just always stayed friends with them and their family. Their parents are just wonderful, and just over the years and every once in a while just do some musical stuff together. So go all the way now to 2011. They say we recorded 10 pieces of music, just drums and guitar, and we want to make the album that we always dreamed of making. Mm-hmm. Our idea is to just get all kinds of guests on it, and every couple of songs we'll have a different singer, and we'll put it out ourselves and just make our dream album. Come on in. So right behind me on that gray rug, I'm trying to point while looking in the mirror.
Like a weatherman.
Screen, and it's so right on the gray rug over there, they set up the drums and we just set up everything and recorded all the music to the very first album in 2011.
Wow.
And then started reaching out to singers after the music was done. And the first one to say yes was Scott Weiland. Yeah. So he wrote and recorded a song called Till the Dust Is Gone. And it was fantastic. And then his people said to our people, which is just us, and just said to us, why don't we make this a band? Mm-hmm. but Scott will do the whole album. This will become a band, and we'll support it and help with everything and yeah. So then we got John Moyer from Disturbed on bass. And we were a band. Pinocchio became a real boy. It's like, yeah, we became a band. And we all signed, we legitimized it. I had a band agreement, it says in big letters, band agreement on top.
Yeah.
Paragraphs about, how we'll split royalties and this and that and everything. Yeah. And we all signed it and we were a band. Then you could say, just to gloss over it all, there was some turbulence with things and we had to find someone else to sing if the band was going to continue. We did put out the album. Scott Weiland passed away. It ended up being, sadly, the last thing that he ever put out. From there was the question, at this point it's 2015. And we're deciding, should we just hang it up or get a new singer? At that point, we did have a record label and we had a manager and all that stuff, all those nightmares. And yeah, I'll be throwing lots of little comments under my breath. So we ended up getting another singer. And how I put it, we moved from the frying pan into the fire. And a lot of similar turbulence and issues and things. And that album, next album, same setup, just different singer, same band, same label, same everything. That came out in 2017, our second album. And this time, at least, we did get to do a small handful of shows to almost support the album. And then from that point, kind of went down the same path, same character issues, same results. So then 2019, the end of 2019, John, the guitar player, gets stricken with some kind of mystery illness that is slowly killing him. Over the course of months, just his body is shutting down. He's weak, he's going blind, he chokes in the middle of the night and can't breathe. They couldn't figure out what it was. And all he could really do is sit in bed with his guitar watching movies. And John being John, he watched a lot of horror movies and things and just all kinds of creepy shit. So he would watch the Joker movie over and over and over while just playing guitar, watching the movie. And it kept him distracted from his own shit. So after watching the movie some 7,364 times, he, by that point, like some of the noodling he was doing on guitar really started to solidify. And next thing you know, it's like he's playing the same riffs to the same parts of the movie, and it's almost like he made his own score to the movie. So the opening part of that movie, the thing that he came up with, ended up being the opening part of the song Vilified.
Yes.
It's almost like he started writing, without even realizing, he started writing the third next Art of Anarchy album. So now, pandemic hits, world shuts down, nobody can get into hospitals. They diagnose what's wrong with him, but to get treatment, and the hospitals are full, and that's a problem. So that was stressful enough. And then, his immune system was just zapped. So if he caught anything at the hospital, he's done. So it was a real tough time where he just felt like he was right on the edge of death. And that spawned album number 3. But honestly, that's how it is when you're a songwriter. It's those kind of things that hit you the hardest.
Yes.
That bring out the music. And I always say that we're almost like meat grinders, where you just throw in all this raw meat and you just grind out music. That's kind of what happened. So the first thing that we did once he was well enough, around the second half of 2020, they came in, set the drums back up on that gray rug over there, and the one behind me. And I should really flip the camera. So anyway, we started every Friday. They would come over and we would just record music, and by 10 o'clock at night we would walk out with another song done musically. So we did a good 2 albums worth of songs.
Wow.
Ready to get done. Meanwhile, during that time, Sons of Apollo, we started touring and quickly had to put the brakes on that, throw all storage and race back home. A week later, the world was shut down, and so Jeff, the singer of Sons of Apollo, Jeff Scott, the original Viking of Vikings with the Viking, and he is a Viking. You know, he's sung his lyrics and he sang about it, and that's really true. Are there Puerto Rican Vikings?
Yeah, there must be.
Well, if Jeff is one of them, I guess there's one.
Well, there are, because he's one.
Yeah, so there's one. They're an extremely endangered species. Yet they're not on the list. Go figure. The world is fucked. So he said to me that look, if you guys just had me sing from the beginning, it's like, I didn't know you at the beginning.
Yeah.
You were just some Puerto Rican Viking. I didn't know you. So yeah, he offered himself to be the third Jeff Scott Soto in the band's, how can you say, tradition of having singers with a Scott in their name. And it's really my thing also. I only sing, I only work with singers named Scott or that are Scottish.
This is like a Spinal Tap. It's sort of turning into real life Spinal Tap.
That movie is the truth. Yeah, it really is.
I'm going to ask you about that.
Any musician, and they've all had their Spinal Tap moments, and that movie, whoever wrote that movie definitely lived being in a band for an extended period of time, because they nailed everything of what really does.
I've got to, after you've finished, I've got to ask you something about that. But yeah, go on, carry on. So this is the third Scott that you've worked with. And
finally, for once in the band's lifespan, it was smooth and easy. And he just, every piece of music we would give him was like, all right, we finished up this one. Yeah. And he liked having finished music to write to. He didn't want to hear it as it was being developed. He's like, just show me it when it's done, and then I get the whole picture of it all. I get to live with it, let it marinate, and then the ideas come, the lyrics, the melodies, everything. So we would give him a piece of music, and he would turn it into a song with words and singing and singing and all of that. So after doing a bunch of that, I said, all right, we have more than enough to put out album number 3. And during the whole time, I was slowly mixing it and getting it to that point. And we needed to make a change of bass players. Moya was not going to continue, so we brought on Jeff Scott Soto's bassist from his Soto band, the amazing Tony Dickinson, no relation to Bruce. Although I think his dad's name actually is Bruce, but it's not
actually.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah. So no relation to Emily either. So he became our bassist, and he's phenomenal. And he just, in a week, he's like, all right, I got all the bass parts to the whole album done, and it sounds perfect.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Wonderful. And then we teamed up with Pavement as our label, and they're fantastic. They do the band Plush and lots of good bands. And we worked with our longtime video director, Dale Rage Restaghini, which is funny because I've never actually seen him get angry.
Maybe that's why.
Could be, yeah.
Maybe you should be more angry.
Yeah, I don't want to see him angry. His arms are like professional wrestler pythons, and he could probably break walnuts like inner elbow. Yeah,
I think John Petrucci could probably do that as well, to be fair.
At this point, yeah. I think so. He's got definitely arms of steel. He does. He's got some serious fucking arms. I've been going to the gym for a year and a half, and I could swear my arms are getting smaller. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Maybe I'm just Maybe I'm doing the exercises backwards.
See, I go to the gym and I just keep hitting the vending machine, hoping that that's going to sort of help me. But
Well, I guess it's kind of like you can get a little bit of
yeah,
like
exactly,
forearm
exactly.
workout,
Yeah.
maybe. So yes, he
Sorry.
did video. No, it's fine. He did our video and made it into like this little mini movie, short story kind of thing that touches on a lot of the issues that everybody goes through, but also specifically veterans, a lot of PTSD. And it's a story about that.
Right.
One of them going through that shit and how his child kind of brings him back to reality. So yeah. And did you know that the voiceover that's doing all the narrations in that song?
Yes.
Do you know who that is?
No.
It's Jeff Tate.
Wow, that's quite cool.
Listen back to the song now, and you're like, how did I not notice that?
I don't know. It so perfectly fit in the track that I didn't necessarily think, who is that? I just thought that's really fucking cool. That's kind of
When that movie came out, the Joker movie, there were all these sensationalized news reports about how it's going to trigger real world violence and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So we took those reports and Jeff Tate re-spoke them, and we put them, scattered them throughout the song.
That's so cool.
So it's actually real news reporting, but we have
by Jeff Tate.
Mindcrime, Empire Voice.
Oh my god,
saying it all. Yeah.
That's so cool.
And those stairs that we shot the video where we're playing, that is the location where they shot the Joker movie.
Oh my god.
And this is why there's so many Joker references in the song and in the video and everything, because that's kind of what kept John sane and not succumbing to just what was happening to him.
There's been so much thought, years of preparation, and a lot of TLC that has gone into this forthcoming album. But
THC, and PCP, and LSD, and no, kidding. No, actually, we're like John and Vince and I were like about as clean as you can get. You could wipe your ass with us. Like we are
really?
So. That was disgusting. I can't believe I just fucking said that. You're bringing out like the toilet humor in me.
No, it's fine. I like it.
So it's your contagious laugh. I just want to keep you laughing.
No, please do carry on.
Yes.
So
they don't drink. They don't like. None of us ever smoked a cigarette. I still haven't smoked pot yet. Waiting till all my hairs are white, then I'll try it. So yeah, I mean, nothing against it. I'm actually all for it. I think everybody should smoke pot, and the world would be a more peaceful place. But that's a whole other conversation.
It certainly is, and it definitely is. And I think you should talk about that with a different, not a music-related podcast. You've got your Art of Anarchy album, which has, as I said a moment ago, has got so much kind of going into it, and things that have gone into it. But also, we know, or there is rumor, Ron, that you are also working on a new instrumental solo album as we speak at the moment as well. Is that true?
What?
He's such a dick.
Scandalous. Yes, it's true. I've been talking about it for years. Yes. I was hoping to have it out about 2 years ago.
Nice.
I'm so busy with these fucking bands So it's done. Now I'm just doing little things so that when I put it out, it's not just like, here's the music, bye. I want to have more. So I've been working on the transcriptions, which will take about 10 years to figure out what the hell I did. And seriously, I mean, I did write down some of the solos as I would record them and say, okay, this is done. And it looks sort of like this.
Oh, wow.
And it's just a lot of numbers and letters and you could see through the paper. This is an old one sheet from 15 years ago when I put out the Abnormal album. So at least I'm not wasting paper. But yeah, so that is just taking forever to get done. I got 2 songs done, actually. Nice. Just 14 more to go. And
I'll be ready by
but I should have that done by this afternoon. No problem. And I'm working on getting a video game done.
Are you actually?
Video game, yes. So besides having an animated video as a music video for the first song that I'll put out as a single, also want to have a video game so that you can play this game while you listen to the song at the same time.
That's so cool.
That's
amazing. That's amazing.
Yes.
What do you think about you say that you're thinking of bringing out a video game so that you can play that while you're listening to the song? That's very sort of 21st century in the world of kind of streaming, and that's very kind of proactive thinking in the today world of music. What do you think about the state of the music industry today? Do you think that the internet has made things more difficult for bands? Do you think that it's made it more overcrowded, or has it been an amazing tool for unsigned artists and major artists like yourself to get their music out there for a lot cheaper?
Yes, and yes.
Great, see ya.
It's all of those things. It has, the good and the bad. It's what we've always dreamed of. Anybody can release their music to the entire world for nothing. I mean, seriously, it's in the old days, you had to hire a lawyer for God knows how much money because the labels don't accept, unsolicited material. So it's got to come from someone and then send it to them. And then all the bullshit with that. And then if you do get signed, they'll give you a lot of money, but it's basically just a loan at a 900% interest rate. And you get on tour, maybe they'll give you tour support too at a 900% interest rate. Basically, and you go to a good studio. And when I say a good studio, I don't mean this. I mean, the old school place with 24 track 2-inch tape machines and all that stuff, and you have to have a producer who is not going to be cheap, and the studio is not cheap. So all of the money that the label says they're going to give you, they give it to you, but it all goes everywhere else. Everything is very expensive. When you have a distributor that the label has, if you want any visibility, you had to pay $500 a month for just one record store to put it in their little spinning thing in the front. So imagine doing that for 10,000 stores in the US, and then you have the whole world. And it's the only thing you can do to make any money was sell t-shirts. So you were a traveling t-shirt salesman.
And now, of course, venues are taking a massive cut, aren't they, of merch sales? That's becoming a thing.
Yeah, soft merch, they call it, which is shirts. So I was thinking that I'm going to make shirts out of like wood or something like that, or like chainmail or something. So this way, it's like see, you take 25% of the soft merch, but no, our shirts are
metal.
Yeah, our shirts cannot be pierced.
So what do you think, intertwining with everything that you've just said? I mean, you Ron, you've had such an amazing experience in the music industry, and you probably, more than so many artists, you've seen probably the biggest shift in how people acquire their music, and people at concerts and things like that. But what would your advice be to an unsigned band that was struggling to climb the ladder of a very kind of turbulent 21st century music industry?
Well, nothing. The funny thing is that nothing has really changed from who you are to where you want to be. Those 2 points are the same. Just the stuff in between has shifted a little bit, but in the end, you're still a traveling t-shirt salesman. Just now, the labels don't have a pot to piss in.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them, not all, but a lot of them, because nobody's buying physical product, and that's where they made their money. So they can't fund and support the band anymore. So the band is relying on other ways to make money. They're not getting it from Spotify, that's for shit sure. So how does the band make money? Meet and greets and t-shirt sales.
Yeah.
That's it. That is the only way a band can pay its bills on tour. Mm-hmm. They're not getting rich. They just want to get out and play and not lose their house when they get home. So it's about that. So you're still a traveling t-shirt salesman. It's just 30, 40 years ago, you had this big funding behind it, but everything was more expensive. and had to be paid back. And now there's no money being made. And so the 2 points are the same. But you know what? Fuck all that. It doesn't matter. We don't do this to get rich. If we did, we'd be doing something else. We do this because we fucking love music. And that is the reward. When you play a show and people love it. When you hear from people, those that reach out and say that your music helped them through a hard time.
Yes.
And just the simple fact that you have, for whatever reason, you've been blessed and cursed with this thing where you're just filled with music that you have to get out because someone did it to you. They inspired you so much with their music that you felt like you needed to just do the same thing and be part of that cycle, be part of that community. That's why we do this shit. So as long as we can eat and as long as you can take care of those that you're taking care of,
yes,
that's enough. Yeah,
amazing.
Like you have to define what is enough or what is success.
Well,
what is all of that? Like we measure it in really stupid ways sometimes.
I think success is measured in happiness. That's my view anyway.
Absolutely, yeah.
You have been so worth the wait to chat to, and thank you for coming on. But before I let you go, a question.
Oh, we're done already? I feel like we're just getting started.
Well, I wanted to ask you one. Well, I've got two questions actually. Before I let you go, my first question is: in your career, bearing in mind you've played with, some of the biggest names in the world, what has been the biggest Spinal Tap moment of your career?
Definitely Rock in Rio 2011, where it was pouring rain on the stage. We're headlining it. This was in Brazil.
This was with who was this with?
The band I don't mention.
Okay, sorry, I'm so sorry. Okay, yes, yeah. It's like Voldemort.
So it's pouring rain. I mean, the rain was piling up on the stage, like it was getting inches high, and it was almost as high as our pedal boards, and they have brooms like sweeping the rain off the stage, and pyro is misfiring from it, and my fingers are just a bunch of prunes. Like I'm just completely soaked. I'm trying to slide on the fretless, and it's just like trying to play on a wet balloon. It's like, yeah, and there was a fan, a lovely girl that had this Star Wars Stormtrooper helmet, white helmet, and she was in the front row, so got the helmet and I put it on. And this is like either the first or second song. It was during Jungle. And as soon as I put it on, because my skin was so wet and pruned up that it just like stuck to my face. Like it felt like it adhered to my skin and like it suctioned, like it just went. And then I just remember saying, shit. And as soon as I said that, the visor completely fogged up. So now it's like, all right, I got this thing on. I can't see anything. And I have the solo coming up and I need to get this off. And I won't be able to get it off with just a flick or one hand. And I remember I managed to like get it up and it was just like up here. And I think I did like a nod, like, good, and played it and went back down. I'm like, motherfucker. So, and it's mid-solo and I'm getting through it. I'm doing fine, but then I have to stop. So I just had to stop playing and lift this helmet up and play the rest of the solo. That one little moment of a couple of seconds, to this day, I still get people sending me screenshots
of myself
playing with this helmet on, with just, instead of ha ha ha, like with the J's, because it's, Spanish or Portuguese, ja 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 ja. But after it happened, I was getting so many nasty emails and messages from people saying how I ruined their life and all this stuff and like death threats and all kinds of shit. Oh yeah.
That's so
not the first death threat. So yeah.
And not the last.
So that was my best Spinal Tap moment. I've had others. I had this guitar that looked like a foot. It looked like the Adventures of Bumblefoot character on that album, like this human foot with black and yellow stripes and a stinger and bee wings. And I had a guitar that was like it, where you push down the vibrato bar and it would make the wings pop out. So I
That's
was
cool.
taking a solo. I think it was either in Istanbul or Athens. I forget which one. It was one of those shows. And I'm on stage by myself, and there's this one point where I'm just making all these crazy noises with the guitar, and then suddenly I see the bottom wing just go like, and it's just sitting there, and it's just flopping down, and I'm like, oh, and all this wood. I look at my feet, and I see all this like pieces of little strips of wood
God.
at my feet.
God.
I'm like, oh no. And I just look up and I see 10,000 confused people just staring at me, like waiting to see what I do next. And I think I did some kind of like little dance. And then I went like that. And I walked off and I switched guitars and then I just kept playing and did everything. But
Amazing.
yeah, that was, I guess, Spinal Tap moment number 2.
Amazing.
I could probably name a few hundred more.
Um,
But yeah.
I have to wrap things up, but Bumblefoot, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure. The Art of Anarchy album is out in February. There's merch on sale on their website now. The brand new single is also out now, Vilified. So when they play live, just hit up Bumblefoot on his socials, and he will be there, ready to receive your love for the brand new album.
Wearing a Stormtrooper helmet, fucking solo.